Good morning. During the organisational change presentation, two elements will be analysed. These elements include a change model and a case study, which will both be compared. The model will allow a diagnosis to be conducted on the case study to help improve a change problem and implement the further steps required into the organisation's strategic plan. The change presentation will allow outlines of both the change problem and model to be conducted. This will allow for a strong analysis and diagnosis to perform a discussion of the organisation's change problem. From there, a brief overview of the next steps of the organisation will be looked at, leading into a summary and overall outcome of the analysis and diagnosis that were conducted. This presentation should allow for a much clearer and deep understanding of how the organisation can identify change problems and implement the steps to overcome and improve the vision of the company. Let's move into the change problem that we'll be looking at during the presentation. The problem that the hospital industry is facing is a merge of 6 hospitals into one, consisting of a metropolitan and 5 rural small hospitals. Change issues include budgeting control, program integration, human resources, organisation, support of employees and medical and hospital staff. This has not come easy, as some of the hospitals are fully supportive of the idea and others not so much. The challenging aspect about the entire merger is that we need all parties in agreement of the merger in less than 10 months. The other challenge of the merger is the individual hospital boards. We have a Metropolitan Hospital Board fully supportive of the idea, and the others, again, not so much. Looking at the current administrative team assigned to the merger, it seems to be on the right path, with some minor changes to be made to help improve the overall strategic plan. The current administrative team is working hard to try and convince all parties to be in agreement of the merger. Some members of the team are having to put in countless hours each day and week to fulfil their both current responsibilities at their own hospital and the responsibilities of the task force. So far, there are only particular hospitals in agreement of the merger and others still unclear of the positive outcomes the merger will bring to the region of Erie. The current task force leader has a great knowledge of the medical and managerial effectiveness available towards the hospital systems, and it also helps that a solid knowledge of the various stakeholders is known. The leader has a fair balanced mindset who understands and cares about healthcare, so a change model has been influenced and introduced to help identify and implement change for the success of the merger. The particular model that has been chosen to help the merger project is the McKinsey 7S model. This model is designed to focus on the strategic thinking and the internal dimensions of the organisation. This model provides a strong discussion shaped around several factors. These factors include organisational dimensions for an analyst, emphasis of linking between strategy and implementation, identifying interdependencies between the organisation's different elements and aspects, and lastly, looking at the potential frameworks for an organisation and the different levels that the organisations can take that framework. The text managing change outlines the fundamental key features of the model and expresses a strong point that is essential to compare and assess the relationship and connection between the factors of the model and the organisation's strategy. Looking at the model, there are obviously 7 S's that are within this model. That include strategy, shared values, structure, skills, system, staff, and style. The model is also presented in 3 different ways. The 3 different ways revolve around one component, and that component is strategy. The 3 different ways in which the model is presented focuses on strategy from a different angle: primary, central, and equal. When an organisation looks at a strategy as a primary, it allows for a deeper understanding of the way the organisation's culture may need to change in order to support the incoming strategy. Looking at the model from a central point of view allows for a more interest between the strategy and other organisational dimensions and opens up the strategy for influence of the analysis. Lastly, the equal layout of the model. The layout of the model emphasises on the relationships between factors and how the emphasis could influence change in the organisation's performance and development. From here, this model must be compared to the organisation's change problem to help find a compatible and suitable solution. Further analysis has been done to ensure that we can suggest to implement some change theory to ensure the merger is successful for the community's hospital and the merger task force. The source of this information is also from the text Managing Change. This is a quick overview of the strategy model. Analysing the situation at hand, we have a merger task force that is required to help and support the merge of 6 metro and rural hospitals into one. It is clear that we need to implement the McKinsey 7S model. It is how we implement it and how the model relates to the change problem of the hospital merger case that's important. The merge of the hospital has provided a basic disagreement between the hospital staff and the boards. It has also been raised that questions of financial game and strategy that particular hospitals are feeling threatened about. This model provides a clear and understandable direction of where the merger task force needs to develop in order to proceed and meet the merger deadline. It is combining different services and techniques of the hospitals that is being a challenge. Looking at values, structure, skills, system, staff and style in relation to the overall strategy is what will carry the merger over the line. It is in the best interest that we suggest to implement the type of the 7S model where the team can look at strategy as a primary goal and objective. There are essential steps required to ensure that the model fits in with the change problem and that will benefit the hospital's merging program. The next steps include conducting a meeting where all the factors of the model are addressed and expressed by each hospital. From there, the merger task force and possibly the hospital boards can sit down and collaborate about their agreements and compromise and look at the overall big picture, what's best for the hospital and the community. By identifying the different levels of elements to the area of the model will allow for there to be a discussion and strategic plan and overall agreement to be made. This model has been described by Nick Beach, Robert McIntosh, Paul Crust, Selby Cannon and Anne Dakic of the Managing Change textbook. The McKinsey model has been expressed by these authors that it's the most flexible and best suited to stimulate thinking about contextual interdependencies without trying to order them or pin them down direct relationships. Overall, the case of the hospital merger has provided a great deal of change problems and areas that need significant improvement. With the identification of the changes that need to be made and the clear and understandable model that has been used to help structure and develop the hospital merge, a brief analysis of how both the hospital change and model can work together. This plan and strategy of implementing this model into the case should benefit and provide great direction and strategic plans for all parties and all hospitals. The reference of this presentation was from the Managing Change textbook by Nick Beach, McIntosh, Crust, Cannon and Dakic. Thank you.